Happy Friday, everyone. I hope that you have a cozy spot at home with your reader and a snack. Today for Read Aloud, you're going to be listening to Chapter 9, A Walk on the Moon. So as we read today, I will stop at those bolded words, and you can read those words aloud using your reader at home. Chapter 9, A Walk on the Moon. Once was up in space, had to steer it to the moon. There were 3 on. You can see them in the image on the next page. Each had a job to do. One of them was in charge of flying the spaceship called Columbia. The other 2 had to get into a landing craft called the Eagle. Then they had to steer it down and land it on the moon. Ethan, maybe you want to read this caption aloud? Very cool to see a picture of those 3 astronauts. Turn our page. We're on page 60 now. Who had to steer the Eagle was named Neil Armstrong. He had to find a good flat spot to land. He also had to set the Eagle down gently. Lots of people tuned in to watch Armstrong and the Eagle on live TV. At first, Armstrong had a hard time getting the Eagle to go where he wanted it to go. But in the end, he landed it just fine. Armstrong sent a message back by radio. The Eagle has landed. The crowds watching it on TV went wild. They danced and sang. They shouted and waved the United States flag. For the first time ever, humans had landed on the moon. What happened next was even more amazing. For a walk on the moon. And then on page 61, we see a picture of the walking on the moon. How cool. Here is one of the Apollo 11 astronauts walking on the moon. Can you see his footprints? I can see a few kind of right here. You can see a reflection too in his helmet, which is pretty neat. Page 62. There is no air for breathing on the moon. It is so very cold, so could not just walk out in shorts and a t-shirt. They had to put on spacesuits like the one in the image on the next page. They had to wear masks. They had to carry tanks full of air for breathing. Armstrong went out first. He went down the steps of the Eagle until he was on the last one. Then he made a little hop. He landed on the moon and kicked up a little moon dust. Then he said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Another joined Armstrong on the moon. His name was Buzz Aldrin. Once again, people watching it on TV cheered. They were proud that the United States had put a man on the moon. Page 63. Here's that picture of them with the American flag placed on the moon. Buzz Aldrin plants the U.S. flag on the moon. Page 64. While Armstrong and Aldrin were on the moon, pilot Michael Collins stayed on a part of the spaceship that was still orbiting the moon. Oops, I read one of your bolded words. Armstrong and Aldrin spent more than 21 hours on the moon. They found that it was easy to move about on the moon, which has less than the Earth. They could jump up high and seem to float down slowly. They used different tools to explore the moon. They knew the scientists back on Earth were hoping to learn new information about the moon. They dug up samples of moon rocks to take back to Earth. After exploring the moon, Aldrin and Armstrong got back in the Eagle. They lifted off. They met up with Michael Collins on board the other part of the spaceship. Then all 3 of the men flew back to Earth. The spaceship came speeding back from space and splashed down into the sea. A Navy ship came to pick up and take them back to Then on 65, you can see that's the raft, and then over in the left side of the picture here, you can see that's the part of the spaceship that landed there in the water, and then these are inflatable devices that they're now in, right? It says splashdown of Apollo 11. So cool. Okay, so that is our read aloud for today. After listening to the read aloud, your next step in CKLA, remember, is to complete the true or false sheet that is attached on Google Classroom. If you want to circle back and watch the morning meeting message, you can see where I have attached that. And you're reading the questions about chapter 9 and answering true or false. You're going to read it. If it's true, you circle true. If it's false, you circle false. Make sure you submit your work after completing. Okay, have a great Friday and a wonderful weekend, guys.